Ranveer, let's talk about Padmavat before we get into the broader themes of this session. The film, of course, is a big, massive success. We spoke about how it's done now 300 crores on its 50th day. But no conversation about Padmavat is complete without talking about its rocky journey to the screen. From the protests by the fringe groups, from the delay in getting certification, from the change of the title, the shift in the release date. What was it like watching all this from the front lines?
It was a very frustrating process because none of this was in my control. All of it was out of my control. It was hugely infuriating, had me livid, full of rage, wanting to act out, wanting to say, wanting to do something about what I was seeing, which I thought was absolutely wrong, but couldn't do anything, Moreover, I was asked to not do anything. I don't know if you can see it, but I am known to be a hothead, I'm really good with the good, but I'm really hard with the bad at the same time. There are two sides to that coin, I have that intensity of feeling in a positive way, but when you flip the coin, I have that intensity of feeling for these sorts of things as well. I will never shy away from a fight or a conflict, or I've been in brawls when I was younger,
right.
So I am also an extremist by nature. So I wanted to do a lot of things, but I was told not to because they would, and I had to agree at the time. It seemed most likely that if I would to get involved, things would get complicated. Because what I wanted to do could be perceived as retaliation, or it would just make this whole thing bigger. And I wasn't really leading the line in the fight back.
Right.
It was the producers, it was my producer director, and I had to respect what they asked me categorically to do, which is, you please stay out of it. You don't say anything. Anything you say will get picked up. This matter is going to get worse. We've put so much money into this film, and it may not see a release if this doesn't go our way, or or we don't sort this matter out. So don't make our lives more complicated. Please control your emotions. I had to be controlled by my team, by my folks, by my friends, and yeah, I had no. It was immensely frustrating because I wanted to say a lot and do a lot and couldn't. I decided, fine, I'm just going to put it into my performance.
Because it was all unraveling while you were still shooting the film.
Yeah, and because of the delays we faced, the way the shooting of this film went, that I would be sitting at home for months, committed to one film at one time, just sitting, not shooting, not knowing whether this film will get completed, not knowing whether this film will get made. And all my bits came at the end. Like, the largest chunk of my work in the film was shot towards the very end. And it was very testing, because in a costume drama can be a very heavy process. You need to shoot for 4 days and take 2 days off to recover from what you've done, especially when you're giving so much.
Yeah.
And especially when you're performing for Mr. Bansali, because he really draws that amount of energy out of you. So it was a testing period. I think barring maybe Baji Rao Mastani, there were times where I was like, I can't do this. I can't go. I used to call my mom at like 1 in the night. I'd be like, Mom, I can't go to work the next day. I don't think I can do this. I've got nothing left to give. My knees are giving way. Like when I was shooting Khali Bali, that song I came dancing and prancing in on, I was in the worst condition. I had shot 35 days straight on a costume drama, which is unheard of. So I used to wobble onto the set like this. I was like, I used to take these ice baths that athletes do for their conditioning so that I could recover. I don't know what happens to me when the camera starts rolling. Though. I go from camera starts rolling, then you're on like Donkey Kong.
You know, I want to talk to you about that performance, but what I want to ask you is, does that incident, you know, looking back, does that whole incident make you cynical about the state of affairs?
Yeah, of course. Of course. It's like, it's bizarre. When I watch it, I'm like, I can't believe that this is 2018.
Yeah.
This is so blatant that it's bizarre. It borders on fascism. So it is, I found it appalling. First of all, I was in shock, which turned into rage. Because when the first incident happened on the set,
The vandalism.
yes, and the assault on Mr. Bhansali, when I saw visuals of that, I was out of control. I had to be physically held from acting and speaking and doing. I wanted to send a message back. It's the kind of person I am. Because for me, those were very disturbing visuals.
Sure.
I value my work. I value the sanctity of a film set. It's sacred to me. That is my temple, you know. That is my form of worship, in a way, as a performer, you know. Thank you. So you don't go to my place of worship and start breaking equipment. These symbolize filmmaking for me. These are symbols of cinema for me. Cameras, lenses, you know. इस equipment से लोगों का चूल्हा जलता है. There are people who work on set whose responsibility it is to do everything that is required for this piece of equipment. You know, here's a person who has essentially shaped me as an artist, who's given me so much, who has helped. I can't even tell you the amount I have, the amount of love, respect. I almost worship Mr. Bhansali. I mean, there's, his and my connection is extremely, I really love him, you know. And to see a visual of him getting beaten up, can you imagine what it would have done to me? I was supposed to be on set that day, you know. I was going to fly in from Hyderabad, and that was supposed to be my first day. So for me to see these visuals of violence, it was so infuriating, because I'll tell you what, I as a kid, the only thing I ever wanted to be was a hero. आंटी पूछती थी बच्चे बड़े होके क्या बनेंगे, मैं आंटी मैं तो हीरो बनूंगा, you know. The only thing I ever wanted to be was a hero. अभी हिंदी फिल्म का हीरो तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ जिगरे पे जीता है ना. तो you can't do that to somebody I love. You can't, you know. And I didn't have, nobody gave me a chance to, you know, then I was stopped from doing what all I wanted to.